Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and welcome again to this channel for the third session. Today we will be talking about framework that we have presented in our article we discussed last week for its context, background, research issues. In today's session we will try to understand how that research framework could be utilized to measure the policy performance, compliance, or checking out whether the implementation is on the right track for different development or investment projects in a developing country. In general, and to be specific, we have tested it empirically for energy and infrastructure projects in Pakistan. So let's quickly move on to it. In policy analysis, there are different approaches for analyzing the things or analyzing the overall policy issue. Over the years, scholars and practitioners have been using different analysis approaches. But in recent times, if we talk about investment projects, most of the scholars and practitioners have been using political economy approach. In political economy approach, there are certain state affairs that have been examined by looking into the economic concepts, and I would say the state affairs have been examined from the lens of economic principles of profit maximization. As in any investment project, if we talk about the financial outcome, then it is to increase the return on investment or profits. So we also try to utilize the political economy approach in analyzing the perspectives after interviews of local business community in Pakistan. We have interviewed over 20 Chamber of Commerce organizations, and these Chamber of Commerce organizations presented their views about investment under the energy and infrastructure projects of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. And from their interview analysis, their perspectives, we have been able to inductively draw some elements which you could see in the framework. So these elements actually came as a result of mapping of original perspectives, or you could say empirical perspectives of those executives in the Chamber of Commerce into the economic concepts that fits into their perspectives. So we have used cost benefit, cost effectiveness and sustainability on the horizontal axis, which you could see. The elements over the horizontal plane reflect the economic concepts that we have incorporated in our framework. But at the same time, as we have been addressing the national projects in a developing country, so we must have some administrative foundation in our framework as well. And since our research methodology is collaborative governance, and we have been trying to locate limitations in collaboration or collaborative structures for developing countries, so we have tried to map the original perspectives that were related to the collaboration or limitations in collaboration into the key terms which you could see on the vertical axis. And those key terms were quite streamlined, which we have found from the literature review. Now, if we look there, we found local standpoints, local potentials, and local challenges. Now, again, there is a connection between our original perspectives that came out from the Chamber of Commerce executives and the administrative or collaboration terms like local standpoint, local potentials, and local challenges that we have found from the literature review. What we did again, we just tried to map the original perspectives into most relevant collaboration or administrative terms for this framework. In this way, we have been able to group the best suited collaborative or administrative elements for developing contexts or investments in developing countries over the vertical plane, and best suited economic concepts for developing contexts or investments in developing countries over the horizontal plane. So in this framework, if we would like to test it, it could work like this. For example, you could pick up the first element over the vertical plane, local standpoint. If you would like to know the local standpoint against the cost benefit, cost effectiveness, or the sustainability. Similarly, we can pick up the second element from the vertical plane, which is local potential, and that's really crucial in assessing the policy gaps by this framework, because from the first exercise that we did in the framework with the local standpoints against the cost benefit, effectiveness, and sustainability concepts, we will get an idea about original standing or perspectives or performance of any project or policy. But with the local potentials, if certain policy has disadvantages and there is some gap in the implementation, there are some better options or resources that policymakers could utilize, but unfortunately they couldn't consider them because of some limitations or bias. Then local potential in this framework would highlight those resources that could be efficient, effective, and sustainable. Moving on from here, the third element in the vertical plane is local challenges. The local challenges actually provide an idea that what will be the consequences of implementing the wrong policies or picking up the resources that are not the best option, and there might be some better alternative. So when we will go through local challenges against cost benefit, cost effectiveness and sustainability, we will get an idea about the consequences, and it could be presented before the policy practitioners by the scholars or the researchers in order to get their attention toward that. So it was the framework that I intended to present today before you people. I hope you have understood and learned the practice of this framework, the way we have constructed it, and the way it could be used to present some policy gaps and challenges from the developing context and investment projects, especially the missing parts in the implementation and some missing parts in selection of the right alternatives that could be best suited for different systems, and what will be the consequences if these resources could not be replaced with the best options. So we have tried our best to present it in this article. You could also find out the empirical data we have populated against each of these elements for energy and infrastructure projects in Pakistan. So by this I conclude this session, and hope we will meet next week with more interesting topic after winding up our research publication analysis. So goodbye by then. Have a nice weekend.